Ask Earl Anything, and today's show is being cut on the weekend. I'm going to be doing some traveling over the next couple weeks, and I thought it might be nice to kind of cut this show this weekend, so that's what I'm doing. So I have a bunch of questions, and it'll be a big show when I release it. So let's start my first question. This goes back a couple weeks. My first question is from Drum Covers by Bill. Hey Bill, how you doing? Happy New Year. I've recently begun experimenting with adding real cymbals to my E-kit and miking them. I read online on an online forum somewhere that someone doing the same thing stuck a piece of gaffer's tape on the bottom of the cymbal to kill the constant ring in the cymbal. What are your thoughts on this? Thank you, sir, and have a great weekend. Okay, Bill, great question. Now, gaffer's tape will kill the sound of a cymbal. So if you're trying to kill the sound of a cymbal, you would put some gaffer tape on it. But I also have used gaffer's tape or masking tape or any kind of tape to kind of deaden a cymbal. This was a cymbal that had some tape on it for a while, actually a couple for quite some time. And just to give you the sound of the cymbal without anything on it. Alright, so that's the cymbal without. And as soon as you put a piece of tape on it, and what I used to like to do is put two pieces of tape, two spots, but I'll stick with the first original spot just to hear how that sounds. So this is the first little piece of tape. Here I kind of dried it up a little bit. Well, let's go the other distance with it over here. Get the complete dried out effect. You can see how it kind of dries the cymbal up. Now this is something I've been doing for many years. Now I don't know, your application, Bill, is kind of so that you don't have as much presence in the room because you're using E cymbals, and I guess this guy was probably talking about controlling the sound in his apartment or something. I don't consider that's not the reason I would do it. This is another one of my cymbals that I used to have forever. I had tape on. Matter of fact, there's a big mark. If you can't probably see it on camera, but there's a huge mark where duct tape lived for years on this cymbal. And I used to love this cymbal with duct tape on it. So this, I've been playing it the last few years, and I don't play my Sabians as much. This was my workhorse Sabian ride cymbal for many years, from like 1988 till about, gosh, 2000 something. I mean, it was close to 15, 16 years. This was my main ride cymbal. It was a 19-inch Sabian HH ride from the 70s, but what I was going for was the Steve Gadd kind of sound. And Steve's cymbal is kind of dead. He likes it, and Steve's another guy that if you watch some of his videos from recently, he did a whole string of nights with Chick Corea in New York City in a jazz club. And he had his cymbals so taped up you couldn't believe it. I mean, they were just dead as a doorknob. Now, I think he took the tape off the next gig he had, but where he was playing that night, he had the cymbal. So I'm putting the tape on this cymbal just to give you the effect I used to go for the Gadd cymbal. And again, it took out that spread, that wash. Like, this is what I love about the Kerope. This is a Zildjian Kerope 22-inch. I don't want to take out that spread. I like that spread on this cymbal. It's got a dark spread. But this, I was trying to darken it up and dry it up a little bit. The funny thing is today you can actually buy cymbals that are dry and dark. My Paiste, Dark Energy Mark 1 ride cymbal is dry and dark. It sounds like this cymbal I was going for. This doesn't sound anything like it, but if I put enough tape on it, it gets into that ballpark where I wanted it. Matter of fact, a lot of times I had two pieces of tape on this one, just to give you the effect. So I'm going to put the second piece of tape on it. Now it's on both sides of the cymbal. It's really got that dry ride effect. So drummers have been, jazz drummers especially, been doing this for years, using gaff tape, duct tape, masking tape, whatever, to kind of dry up a cymbal and give it that kind of dry sound. But today you can actually find cymbals that are made to sound that way. I will say today's cymbal buying experience is probably the most consistent cymbal buying experience ever in the world. I mean, even the Zildjians and the Sabians are as consistent as the Paistes today. You get in, they get their markings on them, and there's slight differences, but they're in the same ballpark all the time. But it wasn't that way back in the 60s and 70s and 50s. It just wasn't. They'd do a pile of cymbals and they'd sell them, and you found good ones and you found really bad ones. That's why some of the old Istanbul Ks are really bad. But people want them. They'll spend thousands of dollars on an Istanbul K to get that Istanbul K Tony Williams thing. But Tony Williams wasn't playing that. Another reason why they put tape on them was because a lot of the jazz drummers that had those Ks would play them until the crack happened. And then once the crack happened, the cymbal took another turn into darker and drier. And Gadd had one of those cracked cymbals for years he used to play. It was an old K Istanbul that was all cracked at the top, and Tony Williams had a cracked Istanbul, and probably Elvin had his share of cracked Istanbuls too. So when you really start looking at why cymbals sounded the way they sounded on records, guys didn't have 50 cymbals. You know, back in the day, even when Gadd was a studio player, back in the 70s, I heard his cymbal bag got stolen, and he was trying to find those cymbals again. I was talking to Joe Casillas at Modern Drum Shop one day, and he said, yeah, Gadd was in here, his bag just got stolen, or his trap case with his cymbals in it got stolen, or something. And somebody took all his cymbals. And it was like those were his main cymbals. And this was right around the time he started to get the Zildjian endorsements and stuff, but he loves the cymbals he plays. If you ever watch Gadd videos, you almost always see this orchestral ride cymbal that he's got that was an orchestral cymbal. He's got a Constantinople that he plays all the time. He's got a set of hi-hats that he plays all the time. I'm talking about the recent videos. The last 10 years, he's been playing the same cymbals. He likes what he likes. He carries them around. He doesn't switch very often. Now, there are other guys, doesn't matter. They'll play whatever cymbals show up on the gig. They're okay with it. But everybody was looking for their special magic cymbal for a long time. And the tape thing was part of the process of getting the cymbals in the ballpark. So is it uncommon to tape a cymbal? No. Now, how dead do you want your cymbal is the next question. Actually, that sounds like my old ride cymbal with that tape on it today. So I may keep it, I think, for a while. So anyhow, great question, Bill, about the ride cymbal and taping a ride cymbal. My next question is from Tekken Drums. And Tekken was talking to me about lightweight hardware. And Tekken asked me here's the question he asked, because in a couple weeks, I will be doing a whole video on the new Tama Classic hardware. I bought a set of Tama Classic hardware. I'm excited to get it. Matter of fact, as a precursor to it, my 18-inch bass drum here, I don't know if it's in the picture or not. I really can't remember what I shot. But my 18-inch bass drum always had 2 holes in it, right off to the side. And I actually found a mounting plate that's Gretsch. It's a floor tom leg mounting plate that's actually newer. So it's not like the old style like I have on my 79 Gretsch drums that you can actually tighten down on a leg. They tighten legs fine, but I wouldn't put a cymbal on it. But this one's got a nice bolt in it, and it's got an assembly where it comes together like the old Ludwig used to have, where you have the little thing and it pulls up against it. So I found this for cheap. I got it for like under $5 with the shipping. It cost me like $12 to ship here. That's how they got me. But I've seen $20 with the shipping, so I got a deal on this same piece. Put it on this bass drum, and I've had this Slingerland L-arm from an old Slingerland kit that I either acquired myself or my friend Alan Levine gave me. I can't remember which. But I put that on here just to give me an extra cymbal. So the Tama classic hardware comes with 2 cymbal stands and a hi-hat stand and a snare drum stand. And I'm going to that flat bass hardware for this kit. This kit's going to get rid of the rims mount, and I'm going to mount the tom on the stand. I have another Ludwig type stand that I'll use for that. Actually, this is a flat bass too, but that's a different story. But anyhow, I'm going to that hardware. So Tekken Drums asked me a question based on me talking about this the last time. He said, do you have any advice on an ultralight drum throne? Some are very heavy and very uncomfortable to carry. Take care. Well, Tekken, I've been doing research on light drum thrones too. And to be honest with you, not really. There's not a lot of light drum thrones that I'd want to put my big butt on, okay? I actually took an old Ludwig that I have, and I took the bottom piece of it off, and I put a nice top on it, and I put it on, and I'm wobbling all over the place. And it's much lighter than the seat I'm on right now, which is a Gibraltar. And I usually have a rocking sock that I travel with, and I've got another rocking sock that just stays in the studio. And I will say this, once you get older, you want a good seat, keeps your back health in there. I don't know how anybody ever sat on those old little tripod drum thrones. Premier used to have one. Everybody had one. Ludwig had a couple of them. Slingerland had one. They were just garbage, those thrones, and they had a nice piece of wood and a real little foam, and they were all tacked on. The final was tacked on, and it was terrible to sit on. So we have come a long way in drum technology with the thrones we sit on, and I may be able to carry my little bag of hardware, but the seat's going to have to be carried in by itself, it looks like to me. But you know what? If my hardware takes up this much space in my car, and then a couple toms and a snare drum and cymbal bag, I'll take the time and carry a good seat, because I'd rather sit on a good seat, to be honest. There's nothing as far as lightweight thrones go. If somebody's got one, send it my way, because I'm looking for a lightweight throne. All right, my next question comes from my friend Toasty. Toasty and I actually met in the real world when he was down here on vacation during the Christmas holiday. I had a nice coffee with him and hung out at a Starbucks and a Guitar Center, and we talked drums, and we talked Paiste cymbals. He loves Paiste cymbals. And he asked the question, I've picked up another set of Paistes, which included an 11-inch 2002 red label Splash. I can't find any info on it. Do you know anything about it? It's not a prototype either. So let's talk about this. So Paiste has an 11-inch Splash cymbal. They've always made 11-inch Splash cymbals for a long time. Sometimes you see it in the catalog. They're not like Zildjian that only had 8 and 10 and 12. They've made 11-inch Splash. They may even made 9-inch Splash cymbals. I've heard crazy numbers for Paiste as far as odd sizes. Even back in the days of the old 2002s and 2000s. So I think what you got is a real Splash cymbal that was made for you, and by Paiste, it was made as a production line. Now, I don't think they made a lot of them, but it's an odd size. Not a lot of guys use them, but I think basically you got yourself a real 2002, and it's just a Splash. It's just a thin Splash cymbal. Nothing special about it. Now, what year it is, you'd have to look at the serial number and then go through the Paiste serial number. There's a whole coding for the serial numbers it's online. I don't know it by heart. Most of my Paistes are newer, and the newer laser stamps on the bottom, it's very easy because it says 13 or 15, and it's very obvious. But the old days of Paiste in the 70s and the 80s, it was more of a coding thing for the serial number to know what year it was. But you can figure out what year it is and go back that far. But I'm pretty sure that 11-inch is probably somewhere 70s, early 80s, because they had a lot of weird size cymbals. In the 602 line, you'll find like 16-inch ride cymbals and 13-inch China cymbals. They're like strange cymbals. You're saying, why did they make this? Probably it had to do with the fact that they made blanks, and that's all they can make out of that cymbal, and they made a cymbal out of it, and they figured somebody would buy it. So, anyhow, Todd, thanks for the great question, but you've got yourself a winner there with an 11-inch Splash, because I have an 11-inch, and it's a very nice sounding Splash. My next question is from my friend Mike Frisano. And Mike Frisano asked a question. Do you know why Shawn Beaver Pelton of Saturday Night Live Band uses a thick leather gardening style glove on his left hand? I have noticed this for years, but I haven't been able to find a reason or concept explanation on why or why not a golf drum glove. Thanks. Happy Turkey Day to you and Mrs. Hammer. This was on my Turkey Day video he was responding on. I don't know. I think he actually responded a month ago, so it was the middle of, yeah, it's about right. It was before Christmas. Anyhow, Mike, I just found this question, believe it or not. There was a period about 30 days ago where Google just screwed up every notification, because I've been finding notifications left and right. And I don't know who else is having the problem with Google notifications, but boy, oh boy, I must have found 20 people the other day on a video I did for Peter Frampton, Show Me the Way. And I just said, I'm sorry, guys, I missed it. I don't know how I missed these comments. This was one of those comments I missed, Mike. So, but the answer to your question is, I really don't know the answer to your question. Shawn Pelton's a strange dude, man. He's a nice guy from what I can tell. I've seen him at a couple drumming events in New York City back in the days of the Buddy Rich concert. And I was with a group of people, and we went up to him and said hi, and he seemed like a nice guy. Didn't get an autograph or anything, but he seemed like a really good guy. His interviews I've heard with him, he always seems like a nice guy, likes to help out. He's a great player, great groove player. I think he was having a problem holding on to sticks. Usually when people tell me they're using gloves, it's because they're having a problem holding on to sticks. Now, why he chose that over a golf glove, I have no idea. It's the great mystery. I don't think he's trying to be Michael Jackson, but for some reason it does seem like he likes that glove. So I don't know, maybe it just takes the vibrations out of his hands a certain way. As we get older, things start to bother us. I mean, we get pains and all kinds of stuff. Not that Shawn Pelton's an old guy, because he's younger than me, but you get my drift. So I don't know. And I've looked it up online. I haven't been able to find anything about him and his glove, which goes back pretty far, by the way. So I saw some question about his glove from 2006. But anyhow, Mike, thanks for the question. I skipped over one question to get to Mike's question, which was my last question. Oh, actually, no, I got two more questions, okay? Yeah, two. So let me do this question, and then I'll go back to the one other question I have, which is more going to be a little bit of a teaching lesson. Stephen Jones asked, and this was in the last recent days, I just did a Wuhan China cymbal video, and a shout out to Jeff Holden. Check that video out. Jeff, if you didn't hear it, now I know you did hear it. We talked back and forth. But Stephen Jones asked the question, why do people flip the cymbal over, the China cymbal over, and play it upside down? And my reasoning and my understanding of where this came from was from Billy Cobham. The drummer Billy Cobham in the 70s, playing with Mahavishnu Orchestra, always had a big swish knocker cymbal, big 22-inch swish with rivets in it and stuff. And Billy was probably one of the first open-handed players. I'm not going to say he was the first open-handed player, because I have no idea who's the first. But I think he was darn close to one of the first open-handed players. And Billy Cobham had a ride cymbal here and a China cymbal next to him. And he had this huge kit with toms and gong toms and everything else. He was doing that before Tama made a gong tom. He had a bass drum mounted upside down. He had this huge kit. So his thing was, he wanted to play off the side over here, and he had this swish knocker, or a swish with rivets. And then I think he just turned it upside down and started playing it upside down, and all of a sudden everybody started doing it. And that was the first time I ever saw a picture of anybody with an upside down China cymbal. Was Billy Cobham. It was probably in the early 70s with Mahavishnu. And then you started to see everybody flipping cymbals around and turning them upside down. I don't think Ginger Baker was playing one upside down. He used to use a swish knocker. I know a lot of jazz guys played swish knockers. And they all played them right side up to ride on them, in that traditional jazz kind of thing, ride cymbal way. Billy Cobham was the first guy I saw that flipped it over and had it upside down. And then from there, you just started seeing a lot of guys starting to do it, and it just became the thing to do by the late 70s, early 80s. I remember when I got my first Swish cymbal, I flipped it upside down. That was like 77, 78. Matter of fact, in the China video, in the Wuhan, China video, I alluded to my first Swish cymbal, which was a Zildjian Swish, 18-inch. I believe it was from the 1950s, had US stamped on it. I'm going to confess my sin today. It's Sunday. I'm doing this video. And the band, the school I went to, the high school I went to, the band director had a mess of a room. I mean, there was some good stuff in there to take from this guy. This guy didn't care either, by the way. He was a flake of flakes, the band director. I have no love lost for him at all. I'm not going to mention his name, but he didn't help me get into college. Let's put it that way. He was absolutely no help to me as a human being. He never gave me credit for the things I did do right over there. And I did a lot wrong, but he didn't do a lot right for me. Anyhow, he had a room full of garbage, and one day I found this China cymbal. And I just got a drum kit, a blue Vistalite kit, and I found this China cymbal. And he didn't know anything about it. He didn't care. He didn't care. It came home with me one day. Boom. Took it home. And then one day I needed money, and I sold it at Blue Note Music for like $15. And Scott Hazen was teaching over there. That's where I was taking lessons from him back in the day. And he picked that cymbal up for probably $10. And my friend Scott's had that cymbal forever. And every once in a while it shows up in my room, and I go, yeah, I'm the one who stole it from the school. Okay? That was my sin. That and a marching cymbal. But then I went to college, and life changed a lot for me. And I didn't want to steal stuff anymore. But I will tell you that I wasn't a great kid. So that's my confession of the week. But I was playing that cymbal upside down. That was one of the things I was doing. So I think the whole history of an upside down China cymbal goes back to Billy Cobham. Guys like Terry Bozzio made it famous, Simon Phillips, and everybody else you ever see playing an upside down China cymbal. It's just become one of the ways to play it. Now, one of the things I've liked about my cymbal setup in my Paistes is I have a 1984 Paiste 2002 China type that I traded a 17-inch Zildjian cymbal with my friend Steve Dupree for. He gave me the cymbal. And I have found that I like that cymbal right side up versus upside down. I've played it upside down in a few videos, but most of the time I play that cymbal right side up. And it just has the right sound to me. So it's kind of funny that I've kind of gone to that cymbal, which, by the way, back in the 80s and the 70s, I would love to have had a Paiste China. They had that really square, well, that round but kind of squarish bell. It was not like a little bump. It was like round, squarish. And that cymbal just had a certain look and a certain sound to it. I remember having the 1976 Rogers catalog. And in the catalog, they showed a picture of the Paiste China. It was like upturned edge, comes up, bump, square, that square bump for the cup, then back down on the upturned edge. It was just cool. I look at that. I used to draw that picture on my doodles. I like to doodle on paper and stuff. So anyhow, history of that, goes back to Billy Cobham. I'll leave it at that. All right, my last question is from Michael Perry. And Michael Perry asked me a question. He said, next to Ask Earl Anything, can you show us the difference between quarter note, eighth note, 16th notes in reference to drum hits? Oh, and can you give a short example of 1/4 time, 2/4 time, 3/4 time, 4/4 time, the time scales, and maybe 7/8, 9/8, and 12/8? Okay, well that's a whole lesson in itself. I thought about doing this as a lesson, but let's talk about quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. So to do this little lesson, I need something. I need a metronome. So let's go. Let's take it down a little bit. Okay. There we go. So here's a metronome. To understand quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes, you've got to understand it in the placement of time. So if the pulse is quarter note, this is a quarter note pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The quarter note is that's the quarter note. The eighth note is counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's the in-between note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's 2 eighth notes to 1 quarter note. It's math. Now I'm a terrible math teacher, as I know, so ad-libbing math is not a good thing for me. But I will say that that's how simple it is. So if you're looking at notes on a page, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth note is going to be 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 16th notes are going to be 4 notes to every quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do it as a tom-tom because it's driving me nuts. That's the 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 e and a 2 e and a 3 e and a 4 e and a. So 16 notes can be 4 notes to the quarter note. All right? So if you're reading charts or reading music, that's what you're looking at. And a lot of times on a rock groove, it'll be written this way. The eighth notes will be at the top. That's typical eighth note rock groove, right? And then the bass drum will be quarter note on 1, quarter note on 3, 2 and 4 on the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you do a 16th note pattern, one of those kind of things you get out of the realistic rock book. 2, 3, 4. One e and a 2 e and a 3 e and a 4 e and a. So that's 16th notes. Now, the other part of your question was time signatures. The most common time signature is 4/4. And 4/4 means there's 4 beats, and the quarter note gets 1 beat. Okay? And so there's 4 beats to the bar, the quarter note gets 1 beat. So this is 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4/4. If it was duple time, or if it was 2/4 time, it'd be 2 beats to the bar. So let's get 2. That's 2/4. 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. If it's 3/4 time, I'm going to change the time signature to make 3/4 time though. 3/4 time sounds like this. 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. So, get rid of the accent. So, 2/4 is 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. 4/4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3/4 is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3/4. If it's 5/4 time, you're just adding another beat. So 5/4 would be 5 beats to the measure, and the quarter note gets 1 beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get the idea? So, the difference between 7/8, 6/8, 9/8, 12/8, you're asking about the eighths. Well, when you put an 8 on the bottom, that means the pulse is now the 8. So traditionally, when you have, let's say, 6/8 time, now the pulse is for the 8th note. So there's 6 8th notes to the bar. So 6/8 time is 6 8th notes. So the typical 6/8 beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's 12/8 time, like you're in the still of the night, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12/8. 9/8 is basically a 3-type pattern. So 9/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get the idea? So that's 9/8. The beat is the 8th note, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Instead of going 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, which is now we've got into triplets, which is triplets in 4/4 time. So the other way of writing it is 4/4 time with triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay? But instead they write it out as 12/8 or 6/8. 7/8 is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, that was me soloing over 7 pretty much. but I couldn't think of a song to play. Actually, I could think of a song. It was 7 Days, and I can't play 7 Days well enough to try to use it as a demo. But 7/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's either 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's another famous odd time signature groove. It's take 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So sometimes you count it. Some people think of it as 5/4. Or you can think of it as 5/8. Depends on how you want to think of it. It's got off a little bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So time signatures, the bottom number is the note value. The top number is the count per bar. That's the way you think about it. So if it's 4/4 time, it's the quarter note gets 1 beat, and each quarter note, there's 4 quarter notes to the bar. If it's 7/8 time, there's 7 beats to the bar, and the 8th note gets the beat. So if you see 7 8th notes written out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can do it with 16th notes. Gets kind of crazy when you're writing 16th notes, just so you know. Sometimes you'll see a bar of 3/16. They add like a 3/16 on top of the end of something. So again, 3/16 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Usually it's considered it's all based on the tempo. If the tempo is 2, 3, and it's 3/16, this is the 16th note gets this. So 3/16 would be 1, 2, 3. That's 3, and for some reason they're writing it in the tempo slow. Normally when the tempo is slow, they write it in quarter notes. 7/8, 5/8. The odd times, the mystery to the odd times is usually when they're writing in 8s, they're usually tying it to bars of 4. So you'll have a tune that's got 4/4 in it, and then I'll have a 7/8 bar in it. So they'll drop an 8th note. Or it'll be 4/4, and then it'll go to a whole different feel. Then it goes to a 6/8 feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All depends on what you're doing. But I don't know if that explained it exactly what you were looking for, Michael. But maybe someday I'll do more of a detailed with the notes and stuff being shown. But it all has to do with the beat. Whatever the beat is, the tempo for the quarter note is, or the tempo for the 8th note is, that's the bottom number. And the top is the number of beats in a bar. Anyhow, thank you for watching Ask Earl Anything. Your questions make the show. If I have questions, I have a show. I appreciate you watching, and have a great day.